Enterprise Zimbabwe, business and everything you want to know on ZiFM Stereo.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. This is Enterprise Zimbabwe. We're live on ZiFM Stereo, my station, your station. My name is Supa Mandiwanzira. Joining me to talk about small business is Jerry Zungu. He's the Chartered Vendor. He was here last week. If you didn't join this show last week, let me just tell you what Enterprise Zimbabwe is all about. We're here to promote small business. We're here to talk about small business, how to set up a business, how to be successful in that business, and what are things to look out for. Because we believe that enterprise starts with individual minds and it grows to become multi-million-dollar businesses that we have seen in this country and elsewhere. And of course, last week we spoke about Strive Masiwa, Zimbabwean billionaire, but we said he started also as a small business, just like anybody else. So the whole purpose of this show is to stimulate the growth of the small business sector. And of course, we have particularly picked on Jerry Zungu because he has an interesting story on how he started business. Jerry, once again, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Super. Thank you for having me.
Just briefly explain again to those that's joining us tonight who don't know who you are and what you have achieved or not achieved.
Okay, thank you. Jerry Zungu is the Chartered Vendor. I am a vendor. I just want to call myself a vendor because I'm also a chief servant of M&J. I founded M&J in 2015. Right now with 7 years of business advisory, working with over 4,400 entrepreneurs in Zimbabwe and in Zambia.
Okay, fantastic. You actually set up a business in Zambia, or they consult you while you're in Zimbabwe?
We've set up offices in Zambia. We've got a branch in Lusaka.
And how does that happen? You started a small business, started as a vendor, and you eventually set up a transnational business.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think it's we're trying to go for opportunities. Like Zambia has got a lot of opportunities, so we're trying to also get the much needed foreign currency for Zimbabwe. So we're getting it from Lusaka. Yes, there are opportunities because there are a lot of SMEs as well. Mm-hmm. So we are helping them to also grow their business with our business solutions, which can stretch from your sales, marketing strategies, to your accounting softwares, because we also believe that technology is playing a role in developing small to medium enterprises. So that's the space which we want to cover. We want to put technology into the small businesses.
Okay, so many successful small businesses here don't even think about crossing the border and starting their businesses there. Why should they start thinking about taking their businesses across the border?
Thank you so much for that question. I think I borrowed it from one of my mentors, Mr. Felix Mataranyika. Yeah. He actually said, if you want to start a business, you should make sure that you've got numbers. The reason why the Chinese businesses or the American businesses are thriving is because they are covering a huge number of people. So he said, if you're just targeting the 17 million Zimbabweans, sometimes your target market...
Well, quite a number of them are actually not here.
Exactly, exactly. And also some of them are children as well. Yeah. Some of them are not even, they don't even own businesses.
But the fact of the matter is we mustn't discount the children because they are also consumers.
Exactly.
Depending with what kind of business you are into, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So he said to me, you must target to actually stretch the numbers, making sure that you're covering even the whole of Africa. Because if you start doing that, it means you're going to also increase your revenue. Because numbers, they don't lie in business.
Well, that's why it's an advantage to be from a very populous country, because when you start selling one product which makes you 10 cents profit and you sell 200 million a day, you become very rich overnight.
That's true.
That's why China, Nigeria, Indonesia, USA are big countries in terms of the economic size because of the contribution of everybody, isn't it?
That's true.
So should we condemn ourselves that we come from Zimbabwe and our population is not as big? Are there opportunities for small business, and what should they do?
No, we shouldn't condemn ourselves. We're actually at a better level because we've experienced. I'll give you an example. Like in Zambia, I'll just give you an example. I actually gave one of my lawyers a shareholding, but she refused because she wanted to be an employee. So the mindset, like in Zimbabwe, was the entrepreneurial mindset. No Zimbabwean was going to deny a shareholding because the way we are groomed or we experience a lot of pain, I think, since 2000. So anyway, somehow, Someone might be employed, but they are busy selling something. So entrepreneurs are all over the place in Zimbabwe. So it's kind of our advantage when they're going out of these countries. Because if you go to countries like Zambia, they are relaxed. They start their day at 9, they don't have any pressure. Even if they are the ones who are benefiting, if you call them after 4, they can even say, no, you better call me tomorrow. But in Zimbabwe, we've got no time to waste. So it's an advantage. We don't have the numbers. Let us go out and start making money. Malawi, Rwanda, I think Burundi, all these countries, they've got opportunities for us.
Yeah, you remind me of something that I had over the weekend, that number one, Zimbabweans are very resilient. Hands kind of Russia, kind of bomb. Whenever Zimbabweans, you don't go survive, but Zimbabweans never building.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Jerry Nyazungu, he's the chartered vendor. He wrote a book, The Chartered Vendor, in which you give lessons to people. We promised last week that we're going to be talking more about the lessons that we can draw, or entrepreneurs, or those that want to be entrepreneurs can draw from your book. Lesson number 1.
Yeah, lesson number 1. I think the biggest problem which I have noticed in entrepreneurs is, number 1, where they are scared to grow. Because
scared to grow or scared to start? Let's start there.
Yeah, I think starting is not a difficulty for them, because if I give my statistics is okay, I think we're talking of about 12,000 plus or minus companies which are being registered each and every year in Zimbabwe. But out of those 12,000, I think less than 2,000 are the ones which are maybe going to start operating. So yes, they are registering company, they've got guts to start, but the problem is now, when it comes now to hiring, most of the people, like especially with this COVID-19, people, they want to work from home, people they don't want to employ. So the first lesson which I want to give to the people is they shouldn't be afraid of building a team, of having people around you, because you can't do everything by your own. So you need people who sell, you need people who are going to do the accounting. Sometimes in your operations, you also need people who are going to help you. So the first lesson which I want to give them is, please hire. Don't be comfortable running a company or running a business whereby you're just the only employee.
So the key word is you must hire.
Exactly.
But we can't tell somebody who's running a vendor stall to hire. They're going to ask you, where am I going to get the money to pay somebody else? At least I work myself and I don't have to pay myself. At least I make a little bit of money.
Yeah, thank you so much. I believe that in hiring, I hire to make if you're going to make a good hire, that person is supposed to make money for the business, and he's supposed to also pay themselves. But if you're going to make a bad hire, you're going to accumulate a cost.
Okay, so let's break it down. Somebody who's just started like you, they're a vendor, they're still selling a very fast-moving commodity, so they're making a little bit of money out of that. Should they consider paying themselves a salary, or they just say profit and data but my school fees? Should they really be worrying about paying themselves?
Thank you so much. Everyone should be, even when you're starting, you should be on salary. Because if you start, be on salary, if you've got a lot of profits now, you can now declare dividend. So, but after 6 months, if you declare dividend, you actually see, even when you're growing, you need to capitalize the business. So if you're going to take everything, I've noticed that in Zimbabwe, what many entrepreneurs, especially SMEs, who are richer than their businesses. If you go to their houses, they've got good sofas, big screens, TVs, good houses. But if you go to their workplaces, they're not investing back into the business. The reason being, they are the business. So they're taking all the profits and they're benefiting themselves. So what I'm saying
what is the problem with that? Because
no, the problem is you reach a ceiling. So sometimes they start coming to me after 3 years, 4 years in business. They're now wondering why they are not growing, because they were not capitalizing their business. They were not buying the assets. Just imagine, we are here, it's a broadcasting station, it's a radio station. We don't have all the material which is supposed to be there. We don't have all those vans, all those mics. Definitely we'll reach a ceiling whereby competitors are going to strike us, and we're not as strong as we are supposed to be. So the reason why you should capitalize your business, making sure that you're putting money into your marketing, making sure that you're putting money also in building the technology for your business, very soon you'll be out of business. So I believe that they must be on salary. It will actually
But some people will consider, okay, if I put my salary, then I must now take a percentage and pay Zimra and pay something else to NASA. Why should I have that headache and take some of my money to pay tax? So let me not pay myself. Why should they not think like that?
Thank you so much. It's actually an advantage for you to formalize your business because you pay little taxes or small taxes. But the problem is if you don't even formalize, Zimra can come and take everything because you're not benefiting from the income tax. The income tax, you're lessing your expenses from your revenue, then you get your profit. You've got a way to do what is called tax avoidance, not tax evasion.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take all the profits and you start buying your sofas and televisions, that's tax evasion. Zimra can come after you and you might be out of business because of the authorities as well. So we should also learn to pay our statutory obligations. NASA, ZimDev, our taxes, everything's supposed to be paid.
Okay, I get you. But these are lessons that we can't teach people in a 15-minute program. So you said you provide this kind of education to small businesses so that they know how to do their things.
Exactly.
What are the specific services that you offer?
The specific services which we are offering, thank you so much. We are offering business advisory. We are offering marketing strategy. We are also offering sales strategies and training. We also offer taxation as a service. We also offer
many
payroll.
services that you offer, but do you have businesses that you took from zero to hero?
Yes.
Give us some examples.
I'll mention free consoler.
Mm-hmm.
I'll mention the best car rental. It's one of the best car. It's actually one of the best car rental in Zimbabwe.
We're sending them an advertising invoice. Or maybe we should send to you.
Yes, obviously, and many others have got Fallon Ford, and we are helping them with consultants. And also on the 2nd of April, I'm having an mentorship. We're kind of having a class for entrepreneurs.
Okay, we're going to talk about that another time before we get to April, because we still have still have a couple more programs. You're listening to Enterprise Zimbabwe. My name is Supa Mandiwanzira. We're live on ZiFM Stereo, my station, your station. Enterprise Zimbabwe is about enterprising Zimbabweans. You want to start a business, you are in business, you're a small business, you need support, you need guidance. We're going to be asking you to send us your questions so that we can ask Jerry Monya Zungu, who's walked the journey. He has written a book, The Chartered Vendor, obviously based on his experience from being a street vendor to now being a consultant, helping other small businesses start. But you say that in your book, you actually don't consider hiring based on qualifications or on degrees specifically. Why is that so? What informs that kind of decision making?
Thank you so much. It's after I tried hiring, even when I was employed, hiring people with these degrees, masters, but they were disappointing. That's when I said, no, I think we've got a system which is a bit flawed, so I'll try to introduce my way of hiring. So when I'm hiring someone, it might take 5 days for me to hire you, but I hire people based on their attitude first, then I'll consider their skills secondary.
Okay, explain that. You hire people based on attitude and not on qualification.
Yeah, I'll just give an example. I had one of my is the best in terms of putting systems. We now have an ERP software. Mm-hmm. It's a big software which does your accounting, your sales, etc. So this guy is coming from the tourism and management. He's got a tourism and management degree, but right now he can sit with chartered accountants. He can do wonders in terms of software development, in terms of making sure that all the accounts are set at an organization. Even did
so the point is you're saying they don't have a degree.
He has got a degree, but he's got a wrong degree, because sometimes people are going to school, accounting being their first choice, but they're given tourism management because they just want to go to use it. But their passion now is in something else. So
but that's a different thing, because we need to understand that when people go to university, it's not necessarily about the qualification you're getting.
Exactly.
It's about the process of going through that kind of study regime. So you don't necessarily have to pursue electronic engineering because you studied electronic engineering. You can actually be a banker and a very successful banker at it. Exactly. It is just understanding the systems, isn't it?
Exactly.
So why would you try and convince small businesses that don't hire on qualifications?
Yeah, Even I will say it based on experience. Even my sales manager, she doesn't have a sales, she doesn't even have a degree.
Okay.
She just did A level, but she's managing people with degrees. But she's one of my best salesperson. I also give an example. I took someone from the HR department, but right now she's considered one of the best salespeople. So the thing is, education, yes, is good. Degrees are good, but sometimes they are going to hinder your progress as far as entrepreneurship is concerned. Because I want people who think outside the box. I don't want people who consider themselves the best because they've got a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it is fair to say people should still hire even people with degrees, because even people with degrees are good at what they actually went to school for.
Yes, if their attitude is good, hire them, and they are the best actually when it comes to when they've got a good attitude. But most of them now, they've got a tendency of just saying, I did accounting at the university. They don't want to develop themselves further, hence they become redundant.
What is attitude in the context of hiring?
Yeah, good attitude is someone who is willing to do whatever it takes. Someone who is willing to also behave like he's the owner of the business. Someone who is not your 8 to 5 guy who just say, no, I'm going to put my 8 hours in this way, at this workplace. Someone who's willing to put extra in the vision of the organization.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're small now, when you've got yes, your 8 to 5 guys are good when the organization is big. But when you're still small, you need people who can put hours into the business.
Last week, I think you did mention that even if you are an employee, you are still an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
So it does dovetail with what you're saying right now, that you have to have the right attitude, the attitude of an entrepreneur, even if you're an employee.
That's true.
Repeat that, explain that, just in case others have joined us today and they were not here last week.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, even when you're an employer, even an employee, you're still an entrepreneur in that case. Maybe
Right.
I'll also borrow an example of maybe our own Douglas Mboweni, being one of the best CEOs. So what I will say to him is he's also an entrepreneur, but someone actually founded that organization. So someone can be founder, but some other people can come into that organization, put it to the next stage. So those people are also entrepreneurs. So I work personally, I don't usually call my team employees. I call them, they are more like my partners. We are working together to achieve a certain vision, which I'm not going to achieve alone, but I have to achieve it with a team.
You spoke about people hiring and that they should hire. But there are professions like medical doctors.
Exactly.
And sometimes, they're pretty much self-employed, lawyers, medical doctors, architects. How do they grow those kind of businesses? Because the skill is with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. The doctors and the lawyers, I think I wrote about that in my book.
Yes, it is actually in your book.
So what I'm saying is the medical doctors, yes, because of their profession, sometimes they're limited. Like there's statutes which actually says they're not supposed to market their business. So I say to them, we're now in 2022, whereby we should take advantage of technology. If you start blogging, writing blogs about your medical field, that's part of marketing. But you're never going to be limited by your association or by your authorities who are going to say, no, you're not supposed to do this now. No, even Law Society of Zimbabwe is not going to come after you with this writing informative information to the people. So what I'm saying to them is they must tend to, because of the nature of their businesses, they are running those businesses, like most of them they're partnerships, most of them they're sole traders, but I'm thinking that they must run them like private limited companies. For example, I think there's a law firm which is in South Africa, which houses over 1,000 lawyers. One law firm which was founded by someone else. So I'm saying, why can't we just also have an organization which is like that in Zimbabwe? It's also possible. That's if we've got an entrepreneur mind.
Okay, brilliant. I see that we are in trouble. We've run out of time. We got a big show coming up, election debate on ZiFM Stereo, my station, your station. Thank you, Jerry Monya Zungu, the chartered accountant, chartered vendor, not chartered accountant. The chartered vendor. Thank you for your lessons, and I see that lots of WhatsApp messages, people talking about how informative your contributions are. We said we will be giving away this book. How are we giving it away?
I think I will ask someone who has read about 3 books, because those people are going to read that book.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll give it away next week?
Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us on ZiFM Stereo, my station, your station. My name is Supa Mandiwanzira. This has been Enterprise Zimbabwe. We're back again Monday next week, 7:15, 7:10. Yo, thank you very much for watching.